Do you get in your own head when you play volleyball, or any sport for that matter? I know I do. Your self-talk becomes negative and distracting, you can't focus on any of the important things, and you're at a million miles away from a flow state or being in the zone. If you're new here, my name's George and I play volleyball. In this series, we're looking at my time playing volleyball in Sweden for Uppsala. And in this video, we'll have a look at a couple of games where I was a massive head case and what I changed to put it right for the rest of the season. First up is Vingåker away. We beat them on the home fixture 3-0, which you may remember as in the second set we staged the greatest comeback I've ever been a part of, coming back from 18-24 down to win the set 29-27. Anyway, so it is a super winnable game. It's also the first game back after Christmas, and despite starting and playing pretty well in the last two games before the break, I was disappointed to find myself now back on the bench. Now, the important context for this game, which explains why I was in such a state mentally, is that I had that week started speaking to an agent for the next season. It was my plan at the time to move from Uppsala after that season to find a pro contract somewhere else in Europe, and I've been speaking to an agent who seemed open-minded about signing me. If I was a smart man, I would have thought, look, it's game day, I can't do anything about this now, there's no point worrying about it, it'll only distract me. However, I'm not a smart man, so I did look at my messages, and before the game saw something to the effect of, I need to see a bit more footage of you to see how good you are. I then panicked, basically that he'd be watching the game today and making his judgment. A bit of extra context, if you haven't seen my video about mental health in sport, is that for a handful of reasons I struggled a lot this time with anxiety as it relates to volleyball, and this really sent me over the edge. I spent the first half of the season out with injury with a broken thumb, and during that time had learned to really enjoy being on the bench by leaning into the shithousery and supporting the team, which doubles up to keep you hyped, ready to come on. During this game though, honestly it was something else. People that know me well know I have a bit of a penchant for overthinking. Well, during these first few sets, I took that to a whole new level. For example, during a timeout, obviously we'd run up and down behind the baseline to stay warm. And I'd be worrying, thinking, shit, what if I'm doing the wrong stuff? What if he thinks I shouldn't be sidestepping, but I should be doing high knees instead? What if I'm not celebrating enough? But then if I go nuts, maybe they think I'm wasting my energy. It must be a good thing that I'm talking to my teammates, right? As it shows I get on with the team. Then what if it looks like I'm not paying attention and not taking it seriously? Should I be standing up straighter? But then what if it looks like I look self-important? And fuck, what if I'm not drinking enough and it looks like I'm not taking care of myself? But then I'm not actually that thirsty. What if I should be thirsty? And so on and so on. Utterly delusional. Like, this is so dumb. I was worrying that this guy might be watching a game I wasn't even playing and deciding whether to sign me or not based on how much water I was drinking. Anyway, so that's the headspace I was in during this game. Spoiler alert, he did sign me. I think my sidestepping during the timeouts did really make an impact on him. I sent him more footage and he signed me as one of his players. So I now had an agent whose job it was to find me a paid contract for the next season and then take X% of my salary in return. Anyway, that out of the way, now we can focus on the game in hand. So you'll see it's got off to a pretty exciting start. There's been a lot of good rallies, some good actions from both teams, and you can tell from the change of ends, the first set is over, and we won that first set. We went 1-0 up, again playing some pretty good volleyball. A few points later, and it's another very good rally coming up. Bit of a disappointing end to it, mind, but Theo doing very well to not set this ball into the ceiling. Worth noting this hall is a ridiculously low ceiling, by far the lowest in the league. Absolute nightmare to play, and we have more to say on that later. If memory serves you correctly though, we were up pretty comfortably at this point in the set, so I think took Koichi off to rest a little bit. All round, nice break point here from Uppsala. They do perfect pass, but Alvin does a great job to get slowed down in the block. And then watch Luve, number 2 in the middle, just making use of himself getting in the way. And we go off hands, and I believe that is to take the second set. 2-0 up, and some things to talk about personnel-wise, but first worth noticing this guy's serve. So he's hitting a really heavy topspin, sort of hybrid, like it's quite a floaty topspin serve. That one obviously just rips it short, but this caused us a lot of problems. I honestly have never struggled to pass a jump serve so much in my life. Goes back and hits 3 aces in a row. We called a timeout. We've all been on Pontus. This time he picks on me. Yeah, I'm not getting that one back. Should have gone for it obviously, but there we go. Back again. This time finally misses, but not a great way to start the set. We answer back with some nice volleyball of our own though. Great dig down the line from Pontus. Again doing well to stop that ball going in the ceiling. I set Adam out of system and he spots the setter high, cuts it down the line. Nice volleyball. This next point is probably my best contribution in the match. Serves another rocket down on me, but managed to dime it, get the ball back and beat the block down the line. Now, I've never played with the rule that I believe you have in the States, where if the ball hits the ceiling, as long as it doesn't go over the net, you can play on. But I'll be honest, I really like the sound of it. This next play coming up, you have a really good pipe from them. It's a great dig from Pontus that just clips the ceiling, and the point's over. And to me, it really doesn't feel like that's good for the game or that's good for volleyball. Volleyball's not made more entertaining to watch or more entertaining to play because the ball just brushes the ceiling after they've rocketed in a pipe and Pontus makes a great dig. So personally, I'd love to see us change that rule, he says, having never tried it. But I like the idea of it. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. That point will haunt me forever. Having killed one nicely down the line moments ago, I was thinking, oh, here we go again. They've left me even more this line this time, and I put it wide. That was a really key point in the set as well, something like 22, 23 all. And then unfortunately, they go back, close the set out. It's now 2-1. 2-1 up now. You might have noticed we made some personnel changes in the last set. So I came on for Albin, and then Pontus came on for Noah as libero. And this caused some controversy, because you don't often make changes like this when you're 2-0 up. And it does come back to haunt us, because we then lost that set, and unfortunately, go on to lose this set as well. It's always funny how much slower things look on camera. I remember thinking I moved at the speed of light to make this ball, and in fact, I look more like a collapsing building, but whatever, it's still a good dig. Anyway, so unfortunately, I then go on to shank a few balls and come off for Albin, who does a great job when he comes back on with an ace. Some more volleyball again on display from both teams. Albin doing a good job to set out of system without digging the ball in the ceiling. It's a lot harder than it looks in here. Unfortunately though, don't get the ball up, lose the point. This is a great rally again. Starts and ends with Koichi absolutely melting the ball. This next spike from Koichi is an absolute joke. Look at the angle he hits this high out of system 10. I mean, let's look at that again. The ball has landed, I mean, kind of hard to tell from this camera angle, but was that 4 meters and pinged out the sideline from high out of system 10. That's a farce. Another great rally here. They're coming thick and fast. This was a great game to be a part of. Amazing out of system set from Gustav there to dive and keep that ball up for Koichi and get out of the way himself so he could still go to swing. It's nice volleyball from us here, but again, it starts to become a bit predictable. Good passing from Albin, 3 meters, and we only really have one option. Koichi swings high over the top of the block. When it's working, it's great. You can just keep doing that. But obviously, if someone starts to stop him, you're in danger. My word, that serve seriously moved. Again, though, this rally demonstrating everyone that isn't Koichi is having a hard time killing the ball. Albin, to be fair to him, wasn't exactly an easy ball to kill. That set maybe for Carl a little bit low. Cheap mistake from Vinorka though, and we get the point. This is crunch time now in this 4th set. Chance for us to win, but also lose it. Vinorka looking like reverse sweeping, taking us to 5. Great cover from Koichi. Gets the ball up. Unfortunately then, housed. I believe that point took us into a 5th set. Points like this are where 5th sets especially are won and lost. It's such a big momentum shift. It's a fantastic serve from Albin. He really hits that float down. It looks for a second like we've won the point. We get a free ball back, but then they're off in transition now, and we're in danger. Okay, easy ball for us. Chance to win it. We finally put it right. Adam misses just down the line, going for hands. And again, all of a sudden you go from thinking we've won the point, we're up in this set, to, oh my God, how did we lose that? We nearly won that point like 3 times, and then they finally win it without mistake. Vinorka now up and cruising a little bit. Great defense from Albin. Goes to Koichi and then misses. Okay, no, doesn't miss. That's ridiculous. Sorry, I doubted you, Koichi. Still, last couple of points of the game. I believe they did win this 5th set somewhat comfortably, so you somewhat knew we'd lost at this point. Koichi doing everything he can though to keep the fight going. I don't think this is match point, the crowd aren't on their feet, but I think it's the point that sort of signifies ending the match, and it's a decent point to end on. So we did go on to lose 3-2. Brief interruption to talk about Patreon. I recently made a video where I coached two of my friends, Liv and Tom, who are complete volleyball noobs, to jump, float, serve, and dolphin dive. And this video has done really well, and I really enjoyed making it. However, videos like this do take me a lot longer to make than these normal match review ones. So if you want to see more of that sort of thing, the best way you can support me is over on Patreon. So I have a bit of support there. It's much more doable to spend more time on these longer and different videos. Thank you very much. Also, please subscribe. I'll talk about the context of this game in a second. Just want to point out this first point, how nice it is to have a much higher ceiling. You see that pays off quite a lot in this rally. It would have been cut very short if we had a low one. Anyway, I managed to get over the fear of being judged whilst playing that week, and actually had a really good week in training. The thing going through my head now wasn't really affecting me for games. It was just that I was super aware I needed more court time. My agent had said I'd had one, maybe 2 games that were good enough in terms of stats and my performance to impress teams, but I needed more. Basically, I needed 1 or 2 more games where I scored 10 plus points, passed good, and had a solid performance more generally. Obviously, that isn't possible if you're sat on the bench. So this lit a fire underneath me to get myself on court, which is good. No matter how much you think you're working hard and focusing training, you can always give that a little bit more than you think you can. The flip side to being desperate to get on court is that it can make you impatient and a bit paranoid. And it did. I was still struggling with injuries, my jumper's knee was never fully healed, and I was starting to get shoulder pain. But I didn't rest because as soon as I had a floor session where I stayed backcourt, I was instantly back in the B team the next session. So I just played through it and tried to hide my injuries, which obviously is not good, and I'm seriously paying for that now, as at the time of writing, despite a year of rehab and way lower playing volumes, I'm still very injured. I've not swung on a ball at full power all season. The way our coach structured training was that when we play 6-on-6, we'd almost always line up with the A team versus the B team, as he put it. So the current starters versus the bench. All season, it had been the case that whoever started with the A team on Thursday's training, the last one before the game, would be the starting 6 for the weekend. After the last game away to Mallorca, I was on the B team on Monday. But with this extra push and motivation with signing with the agent, I played really well and was then in the A team on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So going into the Solent game, I was pretty certain I'd be starting. Well, if you've been paying attention, you'll see that I did not start. As a result, I was fuming. I've honestly never been so pissed in my life to be benched. I felt robbed and cheated and did not for the life of me understand why. Obviously, I couldn't go and speak to our coach there and then during the game, as there's a match to be played. I tried to channel my frustration to more productive ends and told myself that if I get a chance to come on, I have got to take it and show why I should have been starting. Something else is worth pointing out personnel-wise is you may have noticed the absence of usual starting outside Adam, and that Carl, the middle, captain number 5, is now playing outside. This was a big move from Dima, the coach, and to be fair to him, much as I've been somewhat critical in this video, I think it was fantastic. Albert and I, much as we were frustrated and a little hurt that he didn't trust us as having been the outsides all season to fill Adam's shoes, Carl, to be blunt, just is a lot bigger than us. He offers that extra bit of reliable firepower, especially out of system on a high ball, that Albert and I just don't have, not getting up nearly as high as him. It's also insanely impressive from Carl as a middle to then step in and not struggle in reception. He wasn't a liability at all. His usual tactic was to stand on 3 meters with his hand above his head, basically saying, serve hard enough that I can't volley it, I bet you can't. And for the most part, people couldn't. So fair play to him. Anyway, now into the match. So something worth noting about how Solent play is that they play fast. Not so much on the pipe, but you can see the speed they play to the wings is really quick, and the hitters do an amazing job at getting on the end of it. With playing at this speed, you're obviously never going to set as consistently as the speed you can see Uppsala play out. But if the hitters can do a good job getting their feet inside to the ball and use it with things like power tips or just trying to hit the seam, it pays off, and it really does for them. Look at the speed of that set. A lot of back and forth volleyball here. Both teams siding out very consistently, struggling to take many break points. That ball there, perfect example. He has absolutely fired that ball over to 2. Power tip, throws it down, easy point. And Solent are finally finding that break point. Good block on the middle Pontus, and they take the set. Worth mentioning actually, that is the other reason Carl was able to move outside. He signed a new middle, Pontus, who did an amazing job coming in, playing middle now, alongside Simon Schermer. Simon and Gustav, a really nice job on the B in this point. Simon again making himself useless to the net. I absolutely love watching middles do that. I think they should do it more. It's not really caught on in the UK yet, but I hope it does. Anyway, Simon, good job making space in transition. Helps when you're over 2 meters tall. Kills the ball in the B. Second time of asking. There you go. Pontus with his patented shot down to 1. Really, really good arm for swinging across his body. Nice throw down as well from Gustav. Always going to include setters going on over onto. That is why Carl is in the squad as an attacker over me and Alvin. Neither of us ever are going to be able to hit the ball high over the top of the block down the line there to score the point. Koichi also doing what Koichi does best. That's something else Koichi does unbelievably well, is running a decent tempo and then adjusting to the set. So he's trying to run that inside 10 that him and Gustav like running a lot, and Gustav pushes it a little bit too wide, but he manages to get his body to the ball, leans out, and then still hits it back across himself. It's insanely difficult to do that. I don't know how he does it. Not sure anyone actually spikes the ball in this rally. I think everything might be a whiff or a volley or a power tip, but sometimes that's what has to be done. Left-handed swing there from, I think that's Gustav's brother actually. Another volley over the net. Someone going to hit it? No. Not sure what's going on there. Bit of a chaotic one in cover. Good rally though. Another dig where no one knows what's going on. Okay, this is something I wish people did more. When Koichi volleys that ball over, there's nowhere else he has to put it. I really think people should be queuing up to just hit it straight back, but never mind. Still cracking rally. Great swing, great dig though. Out of system ball, what's going to happen? Oh, Gustav, I think, thought he was going to go block out, pulls his block, gives him the court. I'm starting to think his match reviews are mainly just Koichi highlight reels. So many of his points are just him hitting ridiculous angles on a 10. Solent again showing why playing at speed pays off. The pass is over towards the middle of the court, so you'd think Pontus would have an easy enough time getting out there. They're just playing too fast, can't make it. To be fair, that set wasn't even that quick compared to some of the balls they play, especially reverse. I feel like that's where they have most of their speed. Pontus gets up so high here on this ball. It's a ridiculous angle, but goes just wide. Does a bit too much with it. And unfortunately, that is the second set. We're now 2-0 down. However, not all bad news for me, because I got brought on. It's a good rally to get things underway in the third set. Now, in terms of attacking, this wasn't my best performance. I didn't do a bad job, didn't make many errors, but I didn't get that many kills. However, I did pass really, really well. I think we have quite a lot of balls where it comes in like that, and I pass a 3-point pass, and the middle most of the time puts it away. Also, that's probably the best out-of-system set I've ever done. Again, something I think I did quite well. When passing those balls where it's served down to 1 and the setter's over at 2, it's really easy to accidentally pass the ball behind the setter, especially when the ball's moving away from you to the sideline. Did a good job of getting it back inside so Gustav can set forward with his body weight. Good positioning and defense, although a bit of a rubbish dig. Not quite as proud of that set from Noah, but never mind. Simon makes up for it. Huge stuff block in the middle. Oh, actually killed a ball. Go on then. A tip as usual, not a swing. My shoulder's really starting to give up on me at this point in the season. Not that I'd worked that out yet. That is a massive block. Not much else to say there. That was just quite good. Great rally coming up. Not quite such a good pass this time. Taught that one up. Great save from Gustav though. Don't know how he got to that. You can tell in moments like this, both teams know who their best hitters are. A couple of options there setting out a system, and they choose to set number 9, Jakob, backcourt outside. And we have lots of options, and we go to Koichi. Set point to Uppsala to take it to a 4th set. It's a good pass from them, but a great dig from Koichi. and then a bit of a clumsy moment from Solent. Not quite sure what happens, but bumble it all through the net, and we take the point and the set. Okay, here's an interesting question for you. So, start of the fourth set, 2-1 down. I'm back to serve, start the set, get the ball from the ball rollers, and now we're waiting. I think basically there's some problem with the score table. They mucked something up and it took quite a few minutes to sort out. So the question is, as me being stood here with the ball, what would you do? I think in hindsight, I should have rolled the ball back to the ball rollers and gone and huddled with the team and had a chat, because I basically now spend 2 or 3 minutes just bouncing the ball around, trying to keep my mind vaguely concentrating, but also relax and not stress out before I go back to serve. Okay, finally we're away. Back to serve, starting the fourth set. Not surprisingly, after all this waiting, I didn't hit a particularly good serve, sort of just rolled one onto him to get things underway. But we do a good job taking the ball in transition, and eventually we get the point. This is something that worked out quite well for me towards the end of the season, is the short serve. I mean, I hit that one very high, could have done it a lot better, but you catch teams out quite a lot hitting a short serve. Like most people, after serving an ace, often then followed up with your best serve because you kind of have a free hit. So I just whacked that one, a little bit of right to left on it, managed to get the ace. Again, do a decent job getting the pass in front of Gustav when he's in this rotation, probably a little bit low, makes it hard for Pontus to get around in transition. Good job in transition though from Solent, a bit of a miss end to the point. When I pass, I really like to take as many balls as I can overhand. You can see we're starting very, very high up the court. That's the tactic for us as a passing unit. Try and take balls overhand. But when I do then have to pass underhand and it goes well, it really gives me a big confidence boost because I'm not thinking about it and it still works out. Pipe going just wide. We're in a good position to start this set. Again, this is how I know I'm passing well. Stepping in front of Carl to take that ball so he can go and hit. Struggling to find his way through the block, but gets there eventually. Lightning doesn't strike twice, unfortunately. Can't find the point down the line with the deep tip. Never mind though, we're blocking well. Simon's having a really, really good game. Good pass again. Approached a little bit early, but whack it cross court, and thankfully the libero doesn't manage to dig it. Again, this has been a good start to the set for me personally and for the team. We're in a nice position here. Struggled to deal with the speed of that set though. Got a little bit out of position, but it's a good hit. Unfortunately, this is where the wheels come off. So you have, again, their best player, Jakob, down to serve from baseline. Where else is he going to serve from? Whatever. He's down to serve. Down the line is what I meant to say. We're in setter and one. A lot of people think, and I somewhat agree, this could be one of the worst rotations. You do have 3 front row hitters, but obviously you have 2 people hitting out of position, as in opposite on the left and outside on the right. And the setter's got the furthest to travel. Now for this whole run, which unfortunately is quite a long one, I was picked on basically the entire time, which is very sensible from Jakob. And I don't think I did a terrible job in reception. I didn't get aced once. You have a ball there that clips the net and clips Gustav on the way through, and it's a bit confusing. Dig it straight back over the net, so fair enough, could have done better than that. Passes aren't perfect, they're not brilliant, but they're not terrible. The trouble is basically, we couldn't kill the ball. We changed things up and shuffled the reception round, so I now move to the middle of the court, and then straight away after the serve, go to hit on the left, and after the serve, Koichi legs it out to the right so we can both hit from our preferred positions, and also give Jakob a different target. If he wants to serve me, now he needs to serve to 6. If he wants to serve line, he's serving at a different player. We try this, and it doesn't work. Still not able to put the ball away, and to be fair to Solent, they do a very, very good job. When they get the ball up, they kill it basically the first thing I'm asking. None of these points are long rallies, they're all short. If we don't kill it, they kill it straight back. Change of personnel, bring Carl on to set now, different setter, change things up. Again, it's an okay pass, but it's not good. Right, it's a real shame that this happens, as we were up in the set, we were doing well, and this kills it. I don't know how many points this was. I think it was 8, 9, 10 point run, and the set is unfortunately as good as over at this point. We never really got back into it. Koichi has come off now for Theo, gets the ball, unfortunately also can't score. Can't really blame anyone at this point, we're all struggling clearly. Thankfully, finally, Jakob misses, but as I say, at this point, the set is well and truly over. They die in the serve, play at some speed. Good dig from Noah, to be fair. What can Carl make of it? Good swing. Okay, is there some hope? No, there was not hope. It was a good point, but this is seriously too little too late. And with this point, Solent take the set and the match. Damn shame. Wasn't for that run, we were back in that game, but well, that run did happen, so what can you do? Solent, too good. So, after the game, I spoke to our coach, very politely and professionally, of course, but to ask, why was it that I wasn't starting, given I was in the A team in training on Thursday and during the week, so I thought I would be. What do I need to work on? What could I be doing differently? What do I need to show you so I can get in that starting spot? It wasn't an unproductive conversation, but equally, I didn't really come away from it feeling like I'd had my questions answered or I knew what I should be doing differently either. To be honest, my main takeaway, and this was a really good learn for life and for volleyball or sport more generally, is that much as I might think these things are unfair or being dealt with poorly, I can't influence them that much. I certainly can't control them. What I can control is what I'm doing. And it's much more important to focus your time and energy and mental effort on yourself and caring about that more. I can't control the decision the coach makes. I can control what I'm doing. Koichi, Gustav, they're not having these conversations with Dima because they've made themselves unbenchable. And that's what I need to do. Obviously, it's unrealistic to expect myself to suddenly turn into the best player overnight. But that's the direction I need to be heading and where my focus needs to be. Worth saying briefly though, I do think it is still valuable to have these conversations as a player with your coach to understand why you're not on court if you are benched. Speaking honestly from my experience as a coach, you'd be surprised how much a player respectfully asking you what they need to work on to get on court can make you reassess their potential. As coaches are humans too. They have their own biases, they make mistakes, and they can get in the habit of just playing the same players over and over without thinking, in the same way a player can get in the habit of playing the same shots over and over without really thinking. So I do think it's good to talk to your coach about this stuff, but remember, the best way you can influence a coach is always by showing them what you can do on court, in training, and in matches, not by being a puppet master. The main thing I changed then was to try and go back to just enjoying playing. I knew I'd be leaving Uppsala at the end of the season, and I could either spend my last few months sulking that I wasn't playing, or then feeling like there was loads and loads of pressure when I did get on court, or I could accept that whatever happens, happens. I can't control whether I play or not. I can control how I react. So whether that's screaming my head off on the sideline or giving it my all when out on court, trying to enjoy playing some good volleyball. The other side of it obviously being this latter headspace is way more conducive to playing good volleyball. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you really enjoyed it, the best way to support me, as always, is over on Patreon. Next time, we'll be looking at our next two matches and what happened when I broke into the starting six again.